Okay. Hey guys. So good to be able to see you. So I'm very sorry I'm a little bit late because my laptop was playing up a little bit. So I do apologize, right? So for starting a little bit late, but I can see people are connected. So good afternoon to all of you, and good morning if you're obviously in the Americas. And it's a pleasure for me to be talking to you today. So I'm Tony Teo, the founder and CEO of Renewables in Africa. So as you know, you're Africa Clean Energy Champion. And I wanted to have this conversation with you today because over the last 10, 12 years that I have gotten myself involved into renewables energy. So I've always have lots of questions for people, right? So many, essentially, people wanted to know, so how did I come into this industry? How did I break into it? And then I thought I'm just gonna give you more detail about that, and also give you the chance to ask questions, right? So don't feel free to do it. So definitely, make sure that you pop in question there, so for me to respond, and it will be my pleasure, my real pleasure, to address that, right? So don't be shy. Definitely do it. So first of all, let me just prepare the link because there is one link I want to share with you in a minute. Yes. And then yes, and after that we'll be ready to go, right? Just give me 1 second, please, and I will be with you. Okay, I am getting there. So yes, apart from that, I'm hoping that you're all doing very well, and then that your Saturday is going okay. So my side, yes, I would say I'm busy, but I'm good. Okay, so I think I have what I needed. So let me then crack on. Right. So how did I break into renewables energy? First of all, let me give you a little bit of background. So I believe some of you would have heard it already, but in case you never heard it before, let me explain to you very briefly why I actually got in myself into it. Why? Because you may or may not know, but I am an automotive engineer, right? So that's what I graduated in, right? So I in automotive engineer, mechanical engineer. So I started working as an engineer, right? And in my mind, I was going to do my whole career there. And then I used to be part of this organization called Association for Black Engineer in the UK. So we used to organize many events, right, a year. So I spent about 3 years with them. And this one event I attended, which is the Electrification of Africa. And the event was great. Speaker was magnificent, I can tell you, right? I can't really remember the name these days, but I know the topic was very much interesting. And one thing that really struck me is when they show that image or that satellite image showing the distribution of power across the globe. And everybody could see that there was only one continent that was very dark, which is Africa, right? So that what actually shocked me. And as I say, this is a part that people know. And then I decided that, okay, I wanted to work and contribute to make sure that this problem can get solved. Because the thing is, it's not just enough for us to say, yes, there is a problem. We can do this. We can do that. Why are the president not doing it? Why this guy doesn't invest into it, and so on and so forth. The question is always, what do you want to do? How do you contribute? So that's how I took it, right? So, but once you say that, right? So now, how can you make that change? Because I was into that sector, automotive. I wanted to go into renewables energy. And it's fair to say that I knew nothing. I'm saying again, I knew nothing about power industry, right? Not at all. And the most interesting thing is that was back in 2008, 2009. And if you remember, this was at the time where we had the economic crisis, right? The other one, not this one, right? So that was obviously caused by the collapse of Lehman Brothers, the bank. That sort of led the whole financial system to cascade down, and many closures that we see, and many economies that were affected. So that was at this time. And then the one thing that I've not mentioned is that at that time as well, I also lost my job. So I was one of the guys who actually lost their job. And I was thinking, okay, so maybe that's the time for me now to make the switch. That's what I was thinking, right? Because anyway, I need to find a new job. So let me just go and make a switch. So this is how I started approaching various companies. And in between, what I was doing, I was essentially uh, sort of upping my game, raising my knowledge. Because as I say, I knew nothing about renewables energy. So I had to uh, inform myself, right? So get the knowledge I need. First of all, understanding how does power work in general, and then how power work in Africa. What do we have? So what is the difference between the fossil fuel and the renewables energy? Why renewables energy? I really went down quite deep, right? Just to really understand. Because for me, it's always a question of, if you want to be effective at what you are doing, you need to have that knowledge. If you don't have that knowledge, obviously, you're gonna get stuck at some point in time. Yeah. So having that broad knowledge is important. So what I'm not saying that you should be an expert, but what I'm saying, you need to have that basic knowledge that allow you to be effective in what you're gonna be doing. So that's what I did, right? So I got that knowledge, or I was developing it, and then I wanted to make the switch, right, going from automotive to renewables energy. And I was thinking, I'm an engineer, I definitely got transferable skills, so it should be easy for me to make that move. And I don't see why a company wouldn't hire me, right? So I approached a number of them, but guess what? Pretty much all of it was a failure, right? So I never managed to get uh, attention from them. And then obviously I was hugely disappointed. And it took me some time to understand why obviously they couldn't get me. Because I was like, I'm an engineer, right? I have transferable skills. And I'm hearing that it should be easy to make a switch. I'm sure I could learn, but I wouldn't get a chance. But after that, I understood one thing, and that's what one of the things I want you to put in mind. If you want to move from one sector to the other, right? Most of the time, what are you going to do? You're approaching a lot of recruitment agencies. That's what I did. But you need to understand what is the business model of the recruitment agent, right? Basically, that recruitment agent, right, or agency, when they approach a customer, so the customer, the client is a business, and the business say, I want you to find me such and such person that meets that exact criteria. And sort of they give you a description of the typical employee that they're looking for. So the recruitment company, so they're going to be looking for somebody that meets the exact criteria. Guess what? Because they are in competitions with many other people. So they're not here to just take a gamble on somebody who doesn't have the track record in exactly what the client said. Because it's not a job to come back and say, listen, we haven't found exactly the profile you're looking for, but listen, this guy had this and this. I think it could be suitable. That's not what they really want to do. What they want to do is, I've been given a list of requirements with a number of tick boxes to tick. I need to find a guy that look like that, right? And then you understand that basically in my case, it was very difficult because I couldn't meet those criteria. And I'm saying that because for all of you, you need to understand that if you need to move into another industry, right, and you go and talk to the recruitment agent, I don't think that's the guy who's going to get you there, unless you're very lucky. You get one of them who is particularly keen on you, right? So effectively, it didn't work for me. I approached a lot of them, right? They would say, yes, but do you have experience? Okay, I see. I'll call you back and blah, blah, blah. But they never did. So I never had anything from them, right? So it didn't work. So, but then again, I started to think. I said, okay, let me strategize a little bit. And remember, like I say, I lost my job at the time. I needed to find another job anyway, right? I wanted just to make the move directly into renewables energy, but that was difficult. And also in that circumstance, that's also what I want to point out. So it was a climate a little bit like now, company was more getting rid of people as opposed to recruiting more. And basically, it was a market for employers, right? Meaning that there were lots of people on the market with the right skills. So they wouldn't need to go and gamble on a guy like me who doesn't have experience in the set sector, right? So that was everything playing against me. So once you understand that, then you need to start thinking. So how can I make it happen? How can I do? And remember, it was also a time back in 2008, 2010, 2009, sorry. So it wasn't like now, like, when we're talking about climate change, renewable energy, it's kind of trending now, kind of cool. At the time, it was okay, not bad, but it's the future. People always see now it's the future, rather than now is at the present. So what did I do? I actually came up with a plan, right? A plan that I was going to put in action. Then I figured out, okay, this is what I can do. What about if, okay, I know I can get a job in automotive because I have the credential for that industry, even if it wasn't still not easy to find a job. But I know that I have better chance, right? It was like a case of, how about if I approach a company which is a large enough company with multiple sectors they operating in, especially targeting those companies with energy department. And once I'm inside, and once I'm able to demonstrate to people that I am a good element, right? I'm a good guy, I can produce good work. See how I can make the move transversally. That's exactly what I did. So I especially purposely targeted these kind of company. Essentially, if you were only operating in automotive, you would not interest me. So I would go to company that operate in automotive, but also in energy, but also, you see what I'm saying? Have multiple sectors. Once I got into one of these company, right? So I could see they had an energy department. So obviously at the interview stage already, I sort of mentioned that to the guy who interviewed me. And I said, listen, so would it be, and I was purposely looking whether that's a company that gave the opportunity, the freedom to their employees to explore other areas if they feel comfortable. I was okay, I like renewables energy. Would it be possible at some stage if I can just do some research like that? And obviously, companies, right? They always say yes if they like you. And eventually, and clearly during that interview process, it looked like it was going very well for me, and they could see that I was the kind of guy that they wanted. And obviously, and that's the thing you shouldn't forget. In an interview, as much as you need to make sure that you seduce the company that is looking to hire you, is also the opposite for them. If they really like you, they also do the same, because they know that good people, good candidates are not that easy to find, right? So don't forget about that. So that's why you shouldn't be surprised why at interview stage, they will also tell you nice things, which sometimes never materialize, right? So I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, at that interview stage already, I was telling them that, okay, this is what I eventually might want to do, right? Without obviously pushing too much, because I was just sort of trying my luck there, right? They say, yeah, no problem. Obviously, I started working for them, and the key thing for me was to demonstrate that I was good, very good at what I was doing, which I did. And my work, obviously, they hired me. My work was impeccable, so nothing to say. So I was working one of their clients. Client was very happy. I was delivering. Obviously, it was a lot of work, not hard work. And you got to do it. You got to do it. You got to show that you're very good. And then, as I was establishing myself and I was creating that good relationship with my bosses at the time, so I started progressively pushing these ideas. So do you do, because they always have company plan. They say, yeah, we want our employee to grow and blah, 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 right? So I sort of made them understood that this was an area that was an interest for me. And then I wanted to explore that, in my, let's say, spare time. I wasn't asking for additional time or for them to free time for me. So no, listen, I think I can manage it. Let me just, in my spare time doing it. So that means lots of overtime. After you finish your normal work, you will do some research. Over the weekend, you will do some research. And I essentially became the go-to guy for renewables, because that's also one of the advice one of my manager at the time told me, because you regularly have one-on-one conversation with them, and they will tell you what is that you need to adjust to make sure that you're progressing in your career. And he gave me that advice, and it's a great piece of advice that I can give to anybody in whatever company you are. So if you want to move into another sector, right, and you want to see how you can get people to come to you when it comes to that particular sector, you have to make sure that you become the go-to guy, meaning that you need to become so knowledgeable. They know that when it comes to that one topic, one subject, this is the person to talk to, right? So obviously I did a lot of research internally. I was showing that to the managers, and I was also demonstrating to them what the company per se could do, so how they could potentially grow in this sector. But obviously it takes a lot of months, right, to do that work and demonstrating that to them. But that's what I was doing. I was essentially doing research in the whole renewables industry globally, first of all, and then regionally, because obviously it was working in the UK at the time. So looking at the UK market, for example, is solar works there. So what does the solar industry look like? What is the wind? I did a lot of study. I was very knowledgeable on wind, on biomass, exactly the same. So understand what could be done. Then I had a lot of multiple meetings. Now I started having some strategic meeting with them, because they now started to develop a certain interest to say, because company, naturally speaking, they're always looking to grow, isn't it, right? Company looking to grow. And if you approach them from that perspective, right, saying that, okay, I know we're looking to grow, let me explore this sector for you, especially if I know that that big in that, right? But it's a sector everybody's talking about for the future. Let me see how I can give you some ideas there. So I started to have some strategic meeting with them, and then I was sharing with them what my findings were. And every time I had meetings, they would come back and say, "Oh, that's very interesting. Can you recite that other one, another one, and so on and so forth." So that's how I built, a reputation for myself regarding renewable energy. Are you liking what I'm saying? So please, if yes, so give me a thumbs up, and then obviously you can also type in the comment box, please. Please, I think I want it to be an interactive session, right? And then if you have questions, please pop it there. And then and the first person to obviously ask a question, usually what I do is, so you get a chance to have a one-on-one 1 hour free advice session with me, right? We can go through what is your particular case, how I can potentially help you. So if that's of his interest for you guys, the first one who is dropping a message there, a question there, so that's going to be for him. Last time I had a very courageous lady who did that, and I'm sure she's very pleased that maybe she's watching. So this is what I'm saying. So started having those strategic meetings with them, and then they clearly got into our interest. And guess what? Every so often when they see an opportunity that could be of interest, they started now approaching me and then asking me what I was thinking about that. Up to the point, they now started. I negotiated. Obviously, in one of my meeting I had with them, they call it progression meetings. They started asking me what is that I wanted. So I told them, okay, I negotiate with them, right? Listen, so I want to go a little further, a step further. So what about if you guys allow me to become a business development manager for you, right? I was still doing the other job, by the way, right? The job that I was normally doing for them in automotive for the other client, but that was something on the side I was saying. And I can now start going to conferences on your behalf, see how things are going, engaging with people, and then and they say yes. So essentially, we will select a number of conferences which I will suggest to them. They will see whether there was a potential interest for them, and they will start allowing me to go there and engage with people, right? And then and obviously I negotiated to have as well a business card, because you need to have a business card to give to people they can see. And the great thing when you do that is that all of a sudden you're not Only that nobody knows in the industry. You're coming 22 working for this company, and when they see the name of the company, it gives you credentials, right? Basically, you start getting some attention from other people because they know the company and they know it's a big enough company. So clearly, they should listen and engage with you, right? And that's how you start building rapport with people within the industry, developing your knowledge even further, getting aware of projects that's happening, and obviously position your company. That's what it was all about. So I did that, and guess what? I managed to secure one small project at the time. It was a solar project, and then and that project was all about commissioning a solar plant. And essentially, they were looking to for a company that would that would do what we call the owner's engineer. Owner's engineer, in a sense, is to be the independent advisor to the client who has obviously I would say who has obviously contracted a company to build a solar project for them. Now they want an independent guy to verify what the other company is doing, especially when it comes to commissioning. Commissioning, that's the phase just before you hand over the power plant to the customer, to the guy who actually pay for that, who is paying for that, right? So you want to check that everything is okay. So you have two phases of commissioning. You have the cold commissioning and you have the hot commissioning. The cold commissioning, that is when it's not connected. It's not we call it. It's not what's the word for that? Energized. So basically, it's not connected to power. You connected with disconnected from power, just separated from the grid. Just make sure that everything is okay. And once everything, you check that everything is okay, the design, all of that, then you connect to the grid and you do again another commissioning part, commission work. That's a hot commissioning. And then when everything's okay, you now hand over the plant to the customer. So basically, I secure a small project at a time like that, whereby the company I was working for was the owner's engineer, and we had to bring a couple of engineers to work as in the commissioning phase and check that everything was okay. So I had one project, a second project, third project, and I ended up obviously building a team, not a huge team, but at least a team. I think I had max about 6 people, I believe. So working for me, and obviously because you winning the project, so you got to lead the project. It's almost like becoming an entrepreneur, and that's why I wanted to have this job as a business manager, because for me it was a case of it would teach me how to build and lead the business within a company already, right? Because you got to go through pretty much all the phase. It's what you call intrapreneur, right? So I did that for some time. And that was very interesting because I really learned the job. I learned a lot, right? Bear in mind, I initially started uh, developing knowledge in the wind, first of all, and working a little bit more on the research part on the wind, and then much more of a practical side on the solar, and yeah, and later on, obviously, I did that, and later on, obviously, I had to move because the company wanted to pursue into a different route. In fact, they wanted to give a lot more priority to nuclear, and for me, I wanted to stay in renewables, right? So, long story short, 'cause I don't want to obviously detail that part here, so it's a bit of a private conversation between the company and I. And then I decided, obviously, I wanted to now leave the company and continue and do things on my own. So that's how I started forming my company. I initially started working as an independent consultant, so just doing engineering part. But then I realized that we clearly needed to contribute to the education of people in terms of what renewables energy is all about. And that's how obviously I formed Renewables in Africa and obviously move on to what we are right now. And that for me are the different steps. So just to summarize very quickly, because I want to move into question, if there is any question, is that first of all, when you want to move from where you are, get into the renewables energy. What I'm saying, it could be also applicable for any sector, but what I'm saying is, don't necessarily count on recruitment agent, right, or company, right, to get you there. So they won't do that because if you don't have the right description that that they're looking for, they won't look at you. And obviously, if you want to move careers, most likely you won't, right? So what I'm trying to say is, one strategy that you can do if you want to do what I've done, one strategy that you can do is to look for a company which is doing what you're doing at the moment, but also operating in the sector where you want to move in, if it's possible to find such a company. You get yourself into this company, and then you make sure that you become a very good employee, but clearly tell your boss, your managers, that you are interested by that other sector, and you will be happy to do some research, extra time, asking them to pay your, charging them for that. That's just for your extra time. You start developing that interest with that other company, right? And you become knowledgeable. You become the go-to guy into that other sector. So that obviously when they think about that, they come to you. And as you will see, opportunity will come to you. And when the opportunity comes to you, obviously you want to seize it. And you want to make good. You want to make good on it, right? So you want to make sure that you deliver something on it, and this is how you're gonna develop your career on a step by step. Obviously, it takes time. It took me time, guys. What I've mentioned to you here, this is not something that happened in a year or two. So we're talking about 6-7 years or even more, right? So that's what that's how you moving sector, and that's how I did to move from automotive. Because actually, I worked for automotive for a long time, for at least 6-7 years, for automotive before moving into renewable energy, right? So yeah, and the great thing now, that's a fantastic thing. Obviously, I went through the shorter version, but the great thing now is there is a clear connection now between automotive and renewable energy, which is electric vehicle. And the funny thing is, one of the last projects I worked on when I was in automotive was actually electric buses, right? And I remember at the time, we always have that project was just a side project. And guess what? Nowadays, electric vehicle, these are the main project now for pretty much all those main manufacturers, which is actually quite funny, right? So it means that in my world, the two now are colliding into one, which is brilliant. But the reason I wanted to share that, right? So it's clearly not to be bragging here, but I know people have been asking me questions about that, and I just wanted to share and to give you that step-by-step journey how you can get it done. Now, if you want to do that, because I've told you it's about 6-7 years. If you want to do that a little bit faster, right? Obviously, this is what we running workshop, and then in those workshops, I'm giving you another way to do that, but a little bit faster, much more faster, not a little bit, much more faster. But right, so and if you are interested into that, definitely make sure that you register for our next workshop. The link is there. And then this is where obviously I can take you through what is the other way I like you to do it. So hopefully you liked it, and hopefully it was insightful enough for you. And then yeah, so be very happy to get to answer some questions if there is any. So do you guys have any questions? So if yes, please feel free to drop them. And by the way, feel free to reach out to me or to one of my colleagues, right? So if you want to talk to us, make sure that you subscribe to our channel, please. It's important. And to like the videos and to comment. And then this is how we do to make sure that we can give you the best information out there and see how we can help. So we have video that we release on a regular basis, over the weekend, over the week. Now we're looking at releasing more and more videos, right? Some of them will be live, just what I'm doing right now. Other will be pre-recorded and we send it. So in any way, we're looking at various ways. So hopefully you liked it. So is there any question? If there is, I'll be more than happy and delighted to respond to them. If yes, just pop it into the comment box and I will respond to that. Any questions? and then I'll see that. Or you all shy, or you're not interested to have 1 hour free advice session with me. It's also possible. It could be like you don't need that at this stage. It's okay. So I'm just gonna wait again for another 20 seconds. So if there are no questions, so what I'm gonna do, I will take it that it's very clear for you, and you are good to go. And yeah, so hope maybe I've provided enough information. If that's okay, that's great. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy about it. So any question that I could team so I can respond to? Yeah. So if not, this is okay. Let me just check and see if there is any. Oh, no question. Okay, brilliant, guys. If there's no question, so what we're gonna do? So thanks, Vanessa, for responding. So by the way, Vanessa, because you just responded, so let me say that you're probably gonna have a free advice session with me. Excellent. Okay, guys. So thank you for logging in, and then I will see you at our next YouTube live session. So thanks for now. Bye.